Hey there, I'm Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my TBR for the Magical Readathon. It takes place in September this year, and I'll leave all the links to it in the description below. G from Book Roast has once again done an amazing job with this readathon, and I just can't wait to take part. But before we get into that, you may notice that I have a coffee again. It's not coffee, it's a thing called Barley Cup. It's made out of barley, chicory, and rye. And it kind of tastes like coffee. It's good enough. I'm taking it. So if you see me drinking like a weird coffee-esque thing, it's Barley Cup. Barley Cup, as I like to call it, because I just can't take the name seriously, but you know, it tastes alright. It fills the gap, so that's what I'm drinking, if you were wondering. So for the autumn equinox of the Magical Readathon, I am going to continue on my path to becoming a wild form druid. This is year 2 of that, so I'm, steadily making my way through it. I managed to pass the spring equinox, so now I have to pick all the prompts for the autumn equinox. So first up, I have to get an O, a Q, and a D level qualification for animal studies. So for O, the prompt is Phoenix keeping, and for this prompt I have to read a book that has Phoenix on the cover or in the name of the book. So for this one I'm going to be reading Phoenix Extravagant by Yoon-Ha Lee. This was a book that was sent to me by Kaz from Cats and Camera, and I am very excited to read this book. I don't really remember what this one is about, but the tagline for it says Dragon Art Revolution, and I think it has something to do with a corrupt government and mythical seals, which sounds quite interesting. The protagonist also uses they them pronouns, so I am really interested in this one, and I'm definitely going to be picking it up. To get a Q in animal studies, I have to study Shadow Misties, and the prompt for this one is to read a standalone. So for this one, I'm going to read The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagadar. This is one that's on my 24 to read in 2024 list. It's a standalone. I believe it's a Rivals to Lovers sapphic romance, and I really enjoyed Hanny and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating. So I picked this one up hoping for something similar, and I just can't wait to read this one and just enjoy it. Hopefully this is a good romance. I'm really craving that. So to get a D in animal studies, I have to study Recognizing Morphs, and the prompt for this one is pick a book that had a cover change, and for this one I'm picking Raging Star by Mori Young. This is the third and final book in the Dustlands trilogy, and I just want to read it because I finally finished book 2 recently. It's only been on my currently reading shelf for a whole year, but we got there eventually, so hopefully this one won't be. I kind of just want to get this one done now, and it obviously had a cover change. This is what the other cover looked like, this is what this cover looks like. Next up, I have to get an O and a Q level in Art of Illusion. So to pass the O level, I have to study image generation, and for this one I had to use a random emoji generator. And I got a palm tree on an island in the sea. I don't know what that emoji is, but it's really quite good because I'm going on holiday in September and I feel like that's vibes. I picked Savage Island to read for this prompt because it's on an island. And look, there's sea and it's an island. I mean, I guess it's more horror thrillery than, the cute palm tree on the island, but still, it sounds interesting. I picked this one up last year and I feel like it's just a kind of perfect match for this emoji if this emoji was like dark version of this emoji. This book's about a group of people who are taking part in a geocaching competition. The prize is £1 million, so a lot of people are doing things to win. Bad things, probably, presumably. It looks pretty like bad things are gonna happen on this island, so could be fun. To get a Q level in animal studies, I have to study a false target, which is to read a prequel. And for this one, I'm going to be reading The First Chronicles of Dress the Legend by David Gemmell. This is next up in my David Gemmell project, and it is a prequel. Technically, the books in this series are kind of out of chronological order, but this is a prequel to other books, like Legend, any books that feature Dress, because this is obviously his sort of origin story. So this book is about a young, recently married Dress as his wife gets taken by slavers, and then he goes and chases after her across the world and does amazing feats while he's there. Next up, I have to get an O in astronomy, and for that I have to study the constellation Cradle, which is to read a book that came out in the month that I was born, but not necessarily the year or the day. So I was born in November, and I found a book that I had kind of started but really need to restart because I don't really remember enough about the 22 pages of it that I did read last month, and it's Iron Flame. Yeah, I just haven't been in the mood to read it, and I feel like this is the perfect sort of way to make me read it, and it's giant and it's probably a mistake to include it on this TBR, but I really want to read it, so I'm going to. Militaristic Dragon School. Then next up I have to get an O, a Q and a D level in Restoration. So for this one the O level is Night Dew, read a book with night on the cover, but I found that really hard. So for this one I actually swapped out a prompt. This year G introduced these scrolls that you can exchange for guild points, and I have exchanged 3 prompts. The 2 others I'll tell you when I get there, but I exchanged one of them for a Law O level, which is to study Iltrian history, and it's to read a book with a vampire in it. And for this one I'm going to read Hot Vampire Next Door Season 5 by Nikki St. Crow. I just realised that Season 5 of this Kindle Vella series was out, and I was like, oh, this is kind of perfect because they're really easy reads and vampires. So I feel like this made this prompt a lot easier for me. Also, it was really weird how few books I seem to have with night sky on it. You'd think that there would be more. I guess there's a lot of like sci-fi stuff with the sky on it, or romance stuff, you'd think, but no, couldn't find any, so I switched it out for a vampire book. It's fine. Then to get a Q level in Restoration, I have to study Dangerous Plants, and it's to read a book with a poisonous plant on the cover in the title. And for this one I'm going to be reading Belladonna because I just happened to scroll through my Audible books that I haven't read yet, and I realised I had a book called Belladonna. So I'm going to read it, even though I have actually no idea what it's about. I know that I picked it up because some people said it was really great. So I kind of have no expectations going into this one, but it should be fun. Next up we have D in Restoration, which is to study quick action in a crisis. And for that one I have to read a book that has a verb in the title. And for this one I'm reading Ensnared. It's a spider monster romance. I don't know. I've heard it's good, even though it's Spider-Man, but not Spider-Man, but like a Spider-Man. You know what I mean. Okay, so next up is Shapeshifting, and I have to get an O, Q, and a D level. So to get an O level, I have to study inanimate objects, jewelry, and it's to read a book with jewelry on the cover. And for this one, I'm going to be reading The Apprentice to the Villain, because there is a crown here and a crown here, which definitely is jewelry. I guess you could also say that like chains with manacles is also jewelry, but like prisoner jewelry, I think I might be stretching that. This is book 2 in the Assistant to the Villain series. I read book 1 last month and really enjoyed it, but I feel like it's kind of fun in this like really easy read kind of way. It's not too serious, it has funny moments to it, and there is a bit of romance in it, and it's just enjoyable, which is why I wanted to read the next one so quickly, and it just came out. So I'm excited to get to it. Then next up for the Q level, I had to study the Celestial Influence on Shapeshifting, which was to read a book with a planet name in the title, and I'm fresh out of those, so I switched this prompt up. So I'm going to do the Psionics and Divination Q level instead, which is to study the significance of recurrence, and the prompt for this one is to read a book where the same letter appears 4 or more times in the title. So for this one I'm going to read The Book Lover's Retreat by Heidi Swain. So it has E here, it has E here, it has E here, and it has E here. 4 times, 4 E's! 4 E's. Well, I think I got a little bit overexcited there. This book was sent to me by Emily from Novelle Novels, and I'm really excited to read it because it seems like the perfect kind of book to read on holiday. It just feels right. I don't know, I'm going on holiday, I'm going to enjoy reading this one in the sun and just chilling out and doing my own little book lover's retreat. I don't actually know what it's about, but I assume it will be romantic because we've got a lady and a man and they're reading, and I just enjoy reading things about people reading, so hopefully it'll be good. And lastly, the D qualification for Shapeshifting. The prompt was to read a book with a compass on the cover, and I don't have any of those either. Why is that so difficult? I don't know. But I couldn't find one, so I switched this prompt out as well, and I decided to do the D prompt for Conjuration, which is to read a book with a map. And for this one I'm going to read What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods. It's got a map in it. See? But yeah, I don't know what this one is about. I just wanted to read a sort of dark romantasy. This one's been on my shelf for a while. I'm pretty sure I tried to read this for last year's prompts for the Autumn Equinox and it didn't go well. I ended up reading something else instead. But I'm glad to have this one on this TBR this time because I feel like I'm actually going to sit down and read it, and I'm excited to. So there we have it. Those are the books I'm planning to read for the Orilium Readathon. I'm very, very excited to start reading for these. So if you made it this far into the video and you want to leave a comment but you don't know what to say, then please leave me some sort of magical emoji. And if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!